All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robin Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. We are at episode 17. It is called Turn, Turn, Turn. So full spoilers if you've not seen this episode. Well, this was the one. This is the one that I was not looking forward to, but looking forward to at the same time because it's finally here. And everything started falling apart in the last episode. It's been falling apart probably for a few episodes, really, but this is the complete collapse. This is the Winter Soldier complete tie-in. So while everything was going on in the Winter Soldier, this is when the events of this episode are taking place. A little bit the last one, too. And it's Turn, Turn, Turn is such a great way of looking at it, way of saying it. It's a great title. So this whole, okay, just to get my thoughts all in ducks in a row and all that. Let's just talk about how this first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really, like, if I look back on all, like, spy shows, because let's put it in that category instead of just calling it a comic book show, or a tie-in show for everything else. In its heart, it's a show about spies. It becomes a lot more later. But this first season really was a spy show, and they never got back to the heights of this part of the show. Like it because of what it becomes later, it never gets back to this. And this first season, to me, is easily one of the top 5 spy shows of all time this season, because there's so many things going on in this as far as that make a good spy show. And this just completely blows everything up. It is and almost to the point of ridiculousness, but everything's been building to this. And they've done such a good job at keeping you guessing that you might have 1 or 2 people right, or you may have been right and then, dismissed somebody as being bad, but you didn't know who anybody was at this point. If Simmons suddenly went bad, it'd be like, well, that. Anyway, I guess you can make anybody bad in the writer's room to fit the story, but the way they crafted it here, where they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. At least, I would really like to know that question too, is how long in advance did they know what they were going to do? You know what I mean? If this was like a spur of the moment thing, it's not as impressive. But if they knew all along what they were going to do, that's really cool. Let's just jump into this right away. So, the first shot of this, the whole Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult, the ship skimming the clouds, it's really, really cool. The jets come in, it's Garrett, and you like Garrett. And you see him being, getting shot at and seeing doing the maneuvers and the missiles blowing up, and he escapes and he sees that the other planes are from S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's like, oh shit. And so you think, I love how this episode starts and the way it ends. So you get to see the villain, but you think he's a hero. And so you're like, oh my God, don't die, Garrett. And by the end of this episode, what do you want? You want his ass dead. And I really like that they really, this has to be one of the better, if you're a kind of person who just likes to watch surprise after surprise after surprise, that's what this episode is. It's like Surprise the TV show, because every single time you turn around, it's like, what? But so he heads over to Coulson because he's being shot at, and it's all becoming everything's falling apart. Nobody knows who to trust. Nobody knows who's Hydra and who isn't, because they get that message. And so they think it's Victoria Hand. They don't know where they're going. The whole beginning scene with them, where they've all got guns on each other, basically, with, Fitz hiding out. Skye and Coulson got their guns on May, who Phil has completely what he is doing to May in this scene is unbelievable. You never think that these two, especially on Phil's version of it, would be so he's hurt, he's heartbroken. Because even if, as we all know at this point, if you've seen the show, she isn't a traitor. but she's the best, like everything that they did to make it look like she would be, and discount everybody else. Even though, like I said, there have been signs across the entire season that Ward and Garrett were going to be whatever. Mostly Ward, but you never saw anything like that from May. And so it kind of felt like initially like it was going to be a cheat. Like, why did they do that? Why did they just make it? And it's because it's just not what it seems like in a good spy show. She's under orders from Fury to not say anything. And that's the problem, I guess, with S.H.I.E.L.D. is that, if nobody knows, there's so much distrust in S.H.I.E.L.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents against their own people. You can't keep working like that, even if Hydra is in. That's how Hydra got in, and so I don't know, but eventually they all kind of like decide that they have to work together because of what's going down. And in all appearances, you think Hand is Hydra because she's just a hard ass. She is Maria Hill. Like, she reminds me more of Maria Hill than Kobe Smulders does as Maria Hill. And that's not a knock against Kobe Smulders. That's how they write her. They write Victoria Hand like she's fucking Maria Hill. And it really sucks then what happens later, but I love that you think she is. And up until that second, even when she's interrogating Simmons and Trip, you think, oh God, like well, I mean, I guess Saffron Burrows, it would make sense that she would be Hydra, or you'd think that she's Hydra because she's a guest star. She's not a series regular. But, well, maybe she's a series regular at this point. But they really sell you that she's going to kill Simmons or Triplet if they don't go along with things. And just how faithful and how hard she'll go down with, like, she's willing to go as far as she has to find out who you are. And I thought that was some pretty fantastic writing there. And then the whole thing with Garrett. So let's just get into it because I don't have all day, and I wish I had more time to talk about this episode. But I love that, Trip and Fitzsimmons, you don't know who to trust there. But like Skye and Ward, they're having their moment, and Ward's being all like, hey, telling her, confessing his love to her. And, her throwing, May in his face and all this stuff. But you feel like, okay, he's been, holding on, like he's been quietly pining for her and, trying to be professional. In the meantime, you got Garrett, who's just all sorts of ready to take out everyone because that fits his character. Like when they say that he wants to just kill Hand outright, that fits his character. So you don't necessarily automatically think he's Hydra until he slips up and says the thing about Reyna. And that look, that instant look, that was the same instantaneous look of realization on Coulson's face. This is the same one that Star-Lord had when Ego told him he killed his mother. Just that quick, just all of a sudden, just boom, everything changes. And I just love that. I kind of wish that he didn't reveal that he knew. I kind of wish that he had that look and then went back to being Coulson and then tricked Garrett in some way. But it's also satisfying for as actors for Bill Paxton to be able to get to pretend that he doesn't know what he's talking about until he just kind of does that reveal, just like almost like a weight's being lifted off of him. Like, fuck. All right, yeah, you got me. I'm Hydra, and so are all these guys. And I mean, it's a huge betrayal. It's a huge, huge betrayal because he's playing it off so well. And then Hand comes in and saves the day, and you find out she's good, and it's like, oh, so not everybody's in on this. And then they give you this heroic music. You hear like Captain America's, doing his thing, and they arrest all these Hydra agents, and they're all marching, the walk of shame as they get hauled away, and Garrett's one of them, and Triplet's yelling, hey, I trusted you, and Ward's standing there looking dumbfounded after, him and Skye have their moments about, Hook, we're gonna go on a date and all this stuff, and Ward's just like, what? And Coulson pulling him aside, and And they give us this heroic music, like it's all over. The day is saved. We did it. We stopped Hydra from everything. And even though Hand is telling Coulson, this place is taken and this place is taken, it's going to be a land grab. We got to struggle to keep all the power that we can. We got to try to get to all these places. And Hand is going to take Garrett to the fridge, I think it is. And Ward volunteered. Well, yeah, Ward goes with. And you think, oh, all right, this is going to be great. And then you just put the worst guy in ever with Victoria Hand, and he kills everybody. He kills Hand, he kills the two guys just to save Garrett. And that's why I picked this, because this is the literal last shot of the show of him looking up and realizing as you look into his eyes that you didn't know him at all. And that's just incredible. But before we go, I want to talk about this, though, is that does anybody else feel like they mishandled Ward after he went bad? Because part of me just kind of feels like with what he had it could have been, part of me feels like I'm glad that they stuck to their guns and kept him being a bad guy. Part of me does, because you don't get to do what Ward does and get away clean. It takes him a really long time for that story to resolve itself, really long time. And that's what kind of bugs me, is that at the length that he stuck around, I felt like, wouldn't it have been either more satisfying to have him do a hero turn? I really feel like Ward becomes kind of a child after this season, kind of a spoiled little bratty child. And even though he's very capable, he's more than capable, and he does make for a good nemesis. Part of me also doesn't understand why they took him down this road, especially because he does have feelings for the people on this boat, on the bus. He does like Fitz and Simmons. He does like Sky. I think, and it's his loyalty to Garrett. And that's going to come up more, and we'll talk about that more later, but I just feel like Ward's story would have been better if they had given him a redemptive arc after this season. Like, let him do some terrible things, maybe unforgivable things, but give him that arc that brings him kind of back to the light. Because I still think that Ward is just this damaged child, this manipulated person who kind of got himself broken into pieces, and somebody else put him back together as somebody else. And I don't know. I mean, you can't change anything now. I just want to know if anybody else thinks that it would have been more satisfying if Ward had, been bad for a while and then realized that he, he can't change what he did, but he can try to make up for it. And I really wish that they had gone that route, because over the seasons of watching Ward be just really bad and almost cartoony bad, and just not the same Ward to me. Because if you think about it, he was just pretending a lot. Well, not pretend. He was hiding. I mean, Garrett says it best. We were just trying to keep the secret, like it was business as usual. And so, just like Garrett, Ward's been doing his job. And I don't know. I think I probably should stop, and we'll talk about more of it as the story goes on. But it's just something that has kind of been bothering me over the course of the series. And I thought maybe I'd plant that seed, maybe get some people to think about it and put it in the comment section for later episodes. So anyway, just an insane episode. Where everything goes from here is going to get, it's episode 17. We've still got 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. We got 5 more episodes. And that should have been another clue, is when you got that many episodes coming, even though this is a show that can throw you curveballs and give you storylines that you didn't know they were going to do, it is kind of an easy way to tell when the story of the season is going to get resolved, when it's clearly not getting resolved in episode 17. You know what I'm saying? And if you got 5 more, that's 5 more episodes of just stuff that's going to happen before this gets resolved in some way. So that's just nuts. And this was a long season too, 22 episodes. I know that's standard, I guess. This is the first MCU show, so it's 22 episodes of this, man. That's a lot. And I know I've gotten through most of this in about a week, but I don't know. It's so dense. And not in like, I don't mean stupid. It's just so jam-packed that I don't know. But I better stop talking because now I'm not even talking about the episode. So anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that rigmarole. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying we'll be back with episode 18 tonight. And have a great day.